ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक् प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तो ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। In the Kena Upanishad, a short Upanishad from the Samaveda, we are in the concluding portion, that is the 4th chapter, which has 9 mantras. And we have completed 5 of those 9 mantras. This chapter, if you remember, begins with the Samvada between Uma Devi and Indra. So, Uma Devi is an embodiment of Brahma Vidya, and she is giving the Upadesha to Indra. So, the mission is to solve the mystery of the effulgent, mysterious Yaksha. And Agni and Vayu Devata, even though they tried and came very close to the Yaksha, but they did not succeed and they returned. But Indra remained, and so he was very fortunate to have a guru in the form of Uma Devi. And Uma Devi reveals the identity of that mysterious Yaksha to be none other than Brahma. And Sa Uma Uvacha Tat Brahma Iti. And over. The mystery is over. That is, Ishvara appears as that Avatara Yaksha Rupena. So Indra understands that whatever glories, Aishwaryam, achievements are there, all glories belong to Ishvaraha. But under the spell of Ahankara, all of them had tried to celebrate and they took all the credit to themselves. So Indra thus becomes a wise Brahmajnani, and he goes on to teach Agni and Vayu. They also become Jnanis. And so these 3, Indra, Agni and Vayu, are foremost among all the other Devatas. But of the 3 Devatas, the Shruti mentions that Indra Devata is Shreshtatamam. That is, he is the foremost. Why? Because everyone, Nedishtam, came very close to the Yaksha, contacted, Agni and Vayu even had a conversation with the Yaksha. But Indra persisted and did not give up. And he was the first person to gain the knowledge of Ishvara, that is Brahma Vidya. And so Indra is respected more than all the other Devatas. So the entire chapter 3 was devoted to this story. And that is why it is called Atha Daivatam. The story centered on the Devatas. Now, the Brahma Tattvam is, as we all know, the supreme reality, which is not available for sensory perception. And that is why when the Devatas tried to come close to the Yaksha, it disappeared when Indra came. And so the Shruti wants to now make it easier for us. How to meditate on that Brahma Tattvam? So we saw in the mantra number 4, The two upasanas are given by the Shruti herself. So that we have something relatable to the mind. Now, Krishna also has said in chapter 12 in the Tatpada Shatkam of the Bhagavad Gita, as Tesham Kleshaha Adhikataraha Ye Mam Avyakta Mam Upasate. Those who want to meditate on that timeless, spaceless, formless, Nirguna Parabrahma, it is going to be very challenging, very difficult. So it is better to do Saguna Upasana. So in mantra number 5, Shruti introduced two upasanas, and so that the mind can dwell upon the Brahma Tattva. The first one was how consciousness or Brahma is like Vidyut. Now, Vidyut is the word for electricity, lightning. Vidyut is the modern word also for electricity, but in the text, we take the meaning of lightning. Now, lightning, we all know in thunderstorms happens in a flash. Yeah, in a flash, and in an instant, Kshanam, it just illumines the whole area, the horizon, the sky, the clouds and trees, everything is illumined in an instant. So, consciousness, the light of pure consciousness or awareness is similar to that. It illumines the whole prapancha. Yeah, the whole anatma prapancha, the bodies, the worlds are all revealed. Yeah, lit up means revealed. That is, all of them are observed and perceived. So we know how the mind borrows that sentience from Chaitanyam and then illumines, reveals the sense organs and the body, and through the bodies, the whole world comes to light. So that is the light of all lights. And so just like lightning, the whole ignorance disappears, the darkness disappears, the knots of the heart are cut, the karmas are burnt, the doubts are dispelled. So all this is why the Shruti compares consciousness with lightning. Then another few points we can understand is lightning just happens in an instant. So knowledge, that insight into the pure being, awareness, Atma Tattvam, can also happen in an instant. But in an instant for whom? Only for the prepared mind, sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari student who has a Samskrita manas. So it takes a lot of effort for preparing the mind. I have to dilute my raga dveshas through karma yoga, Ishvara arpana buddhi, and then steady the oscillating mind with upasanas, and then dwell upon the tattvam through shravanam, mananam, nididhyasnam. So when there is such a mature, a ripened mind, then that knowledge of Atma Tattvam can happen just like lightning in an instant. So that example we saw, but how the rope is mistaken for a snake when it is dark. So in ignorance, we do not see the awareness. We do not see Brahma Satyam, but there is a Mithya Jagat. But the moment the rope is known, in a flash, what happens? The snake disappeared. And along with the snake, all my fear and my anxiety also went away. So when the Brahma Tattvam is known, then these effects are seen. Karmas are burnt and one enjoys the freedom. That is the one. And the other point we can understand here is lightning, or for that matter, any light, sunlight or any light, we cannot see it directly. Yeah. Now we can see the reflected light of the hand, of the trees, of a table, but we cannot see the photons of light directly. So lightning is seen through the reflection in the clouds and the sky and wherever it illumines. Yeah. So too, Brahma Tattvam is not available for the sensory perception. Ashabdam, Asparsham, Arupam, Arasam, Agandham. So it can only be known indirectly. Not this, not this. Neti, neti. Why? Because if it is seen, then it becomes an object. So, Upanishad has already said, Matam yasya na vedasaha. If I think I know Brahma through my senses, through the mind, then it is reduced to an object. But Brahma Tattvam is really the perceiver, Drik Swarupaha. It is the observer. It is oneself. So this is Upasana Shruti introduced in the fourth mantra on Vidyut, that is lightning. The second Upasana we saw in the same mantra is that of the blinking of the eyelids. Yeah, Nimeshanam. Nimeshanam is, how many times do the eyelids blink? We don't know, countless times. It is an involuntary action and it is effortless and we take it for granted. How it protects the eyes and, that divine function, we are not even aware of it. So too, Atma Tattvam or consciousness, we are not aware how effortlessly it is present. It is so obvious, it is so evident, but we do not pay attention to that. So our mind is distracted by the Nama Rupas, Advaita Buddhi. Yeah? The Advaita Buddhi will go beyond, go after the superficial appearances, Nama Rupa, but that which is always there, like the blinking of the eyelids, it just continues as long as there is life. So that is the second Upasana introduced by Upanishad on the blinking of the eyelids. Yeah. Then another commentary mentions another fact about the blinking of the eyelids. Now, when I close my eyes, what happens? The whole prapancha, the world is gone, disappeared. Where? Into my own mind. And when I open the mind, open the eyes, then the world is back. Yeah, the whole prapancha is back and life is there. So, consciousness or Jagat Karanam Brahma is as effortless as the blinking of the eyes. That is, effortlessly Brahma Tattvam, Jagat Karanam Brahma brings forth the Srishti. The worlds are manifest and effortlessly they are also withdrawn back in an instant. So both these drishtantas, that is of Vidyut and blinking of the eyes, happen in an instant, in a flash. Yeah, to show the nature of Brahma is also omnipotent and how effortlessly the great order is managing everything. So when we meditate on these facts, then we are able to grasp and understand the nature of Brahma more. And that is why those two drishtantas were given in mantra number 4. Now, Upanishads, even Kathopanishad, Yamadharmaraja, remember how he dissuades Nachiketa from wanting this Brahma Vidya. Why? Because it is durvigneyam. Dukkhena gamyate. It is very abstract, and you need a lot of preparation. Why do you want it at this young age? But then we also see that Atma Brahma is described in the Gita by Sri Krishna as Susukham. That is very easy to know, easily understood because it is oneself. And Ramana Maharishi has used the word Ati Sulabham. Even composed a song on that. Atma is Ati Sulabham. Ati Sulabham means it is so evident. It is oneself. We just have to turn the mind towards it and not run away from it. So when we find that the Shastras are, how can they say it is difficult and easy at the same time? So that confusion is understood because of the mind. Atma is Susukham and Ati Sulabham for the mature sadhana chaturthya sampanna student, the one who is ready. Yeah? And by readiness, it means the mumukshu, the one who has viveka and vairagyam and who has done the pariksha of the lokas, who has approached the guru and who has begun this journey of the Shreyo Marga in pursuit of moksha vidya. But for those minds that are still wrapped up, concerned with the Namarupa Buddhi, Dvaita Buddhi, and who are still very much engaged in external pursuits with worldly minded, it is Durvigniyaha. It remains a rahasya, it will remain a secret. And that is what Krishna has said also. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam veti tattvataha. So thousands of students, one will seek me, Krishna says. Me means Ishvara Tattvam. And even among those striving, one will ultimately come to know me. Yeah. So this is the nature of Atma Tattvam. Yeah. Now, Shruti has totally presented 4 upasanas in this last chapter. 2 we have already seen. Consciousness is like Vidyut, lightning, and like blinking of the eyes. And this is called Atha Daivatam. Now we saw that what Atha Daivatam means. These teachings so far, they are centered on the Devatas. We had the story about the Daivasura Sangrama, and then the meeting, the conversation with Uma Devi, and then the Upadesha was given. Now the Shruti is going to come closer to us and say, let us have the teachings based on the individual will. That is Adhyatma teachings. And that is presented in the next mantra, number 5. Let us see that mantra. Now follows the teachings which are centered on the individual. Centered on the individual, Jiva means centered on my will. Whereas the 2 upasanas, lightning and blinking of the eyelids, are they will-based? No. When lightning happens, it's visible. And blinking of the eyelids happens without my intervention. But now we are going to see how to meditate on Brahma using my mind. So this is a thought-based meditation, very, very subtle. And that is this mantra number 5. Atha adhyatmam yadetad gacchati अथ अध्यात्मं यदेतद् गच्छति वा च मनोनेन च एतत् उपस्मरत्यभीक्ष्णं सङ्कल्पः अथ अध्यात्मं यदेतत् गच्छति च मनोनेन च एतत् उपस्मरत्यभीक्ष्णं सङ्कल्पः. So let us break the sandhis. Atha. Now, adhyatmam yat etat. Adhyatma means centered on Atma. Centered on Atma here means centered on Jivatma. That is centered on the Jiva. So how can the Jiva, using the internal world of the mind and the body, meditate on Brahma? That is called Adhyatma teachings. So, Atha Adhyatmam Yat Etat. Now, Yat refers to Brahma, that Brahma under discussion, which was taught to the Devatas as Chakshushaha, Chakshuhu, Shrotrasya, Shrotram. That Brahma, the all-pervading principle which empowers everything, is Etat. Notice the 2 words together, Yat Etat. That Brahma under discussion, which was taught to the student in the first chapter, is Etat. Etat Atma. Then Gacchati Iva. Cha Manaha Anena Cha Etat Upasmarati Abhikshnam Sankalpaha. So now we are going to see the meditation or the upasana centered on the mind. Yeah, which is nothing but nididhyasana. We are going to come to that topic, which we have seen before, but the Kena introduces it in this way. Now, manaha, manas. Yeah, now we know from Tattva Bodha that the manas is the supercomputer. It is composed of how many components? 19. Pancha Jnanendriyani, Pancha Karmendriyani, Pancha Pranas, Chittam, Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara. And all of them are intelligently put together as a software which is inhabiting this hardware body, this Sthula Shariram. So mind is really nothing but subtle matter, whereas Sthula Shariram is gross matter. We know this. But look at the functions of the mind. In an instant, it has gone to America. In an instant, it is imagining, visualizing, judging, and deciding, arguing, going back into memory, childhood memories of the past. How is the mind active when it is only at best subtle matter? So here, manaha gacchati, it is said. Gacchati means to go. But really, we can say manaha dhavati. It is really running into the past, running into the future, projecting. How is all this happening? It is happening because the mind has borrowed the sentience from Chaitanyam, the Shuddha Chaitanyam. So we have seen this before. Original consciousness, all pervading Brahma Chaitanyam, reflects and shines as a pratibimba in a sukshma shariram. Any sukshma shariram, there will be the sentience. So now the sentient mind is able to grasp anything of the world. Now, if there is a flower perception, or a pen perception. Now, did the mind actually go to the pen and come back? No. Subtle shariram only will leave the body at the end of the prarabdha. Yeah. Then how did this pen enter the mind? And we have seen this before, that sentient mind projects, and through the eyes, the form and the color of the pen are brought into the mind as a vritti, as a thought. So then we have these countless vrittis in the mind, person vritti, flower vritti, fruit, and so on, all these. So the thought has traveled, as though traveled through the eyes, along with what? Sentience, along with the Chidabhasa. And it is as though, covered the pen and brought the pen back to assume the form of the pen in the mind. And that is called a pen vritti. So we have thousands of vrittis per second in the mind, but only in the mind that is lighted up by chit. So that sentience in the mind is called what? Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is the reflected consciousness in the Sukshma Shariram. And because of that, we find how the mind is so active. So here the Upanishad is suggesting that now the mind gacchati iva cha. So yat etat. Now the mind is going to move towards Brahma. Actually, there is no movement. So that is why there is the word iva. Did you notice that? Yat etat gacchati iva. So the mind as though moves towards Atma Brahman. Yeah. And manaha anena. And by this mind, cha etat upasmarati. That upasmarati means contemplates. So the contemplation here is by the mind on the Atma Tattva. Etat upasmarati. And abhikshnam. Abhikshnam means repeatedly. In the Gita, chapter 6, we have all these techniques were given by Krishna. Yato nischarati tatastato niyamyetat atma samstam manah kritva nakinchitapi chintayet. So the mind by nature is going to wander out, be distracted. But the yogi brings the mind back to an alambana. Alambanam is any focus. You can take Om, you can take a mantra, and you can take the Shiva seated in the heart throne, in the heart space. So we bring it back repeatedly. It is not possible to have a thoughtless state of the mind in the waking state. The mind can only be thoughtless in Sushupti, deep sleep state. because the mind is switched off. But the nature of the mind is to imagine. It's a thought producing machine. So here the upasana is that one portion of the mind will be thinking, planning. Oh, what is the strategies? What will I do in 2025? What will I cook for dinner later after the class? That is the nature of the mind. But we bring it back to the alambanam. So here this mantra says that Eva, as though the mind in meditation, we bring it closer and moving towards the Atma Brahman. So then what happens? Then the student that is meditating begins to discover and recognize what? That whether there are thoughts, how many thoughts there are there, whether they come and go, but there is an invariable constant. There is a sakshi. There is an awareness, which is simply watching. So, even though there are activities in the mind that is lit up by Chaitanyam, but now the focus is away from the Namarupa. Now the pen vritti happens in the mind because of Chaitanyam, sentience. The flower vritti is there because of Chaitanyam. The person vritti is there because of Chaitanyam. So the infinite countless Namarupas that have their corresponding vrittis in the mind, how are they happening? Because there is an invariable Sakshi constant. Pratibodha viditam matam. That famous mantra also we saw. The invariable constant which is there in every thought. Yeah, so that is the mind is empowered to think, to analyze, to judge, to do whatever it wants to do because it is enjoying the sentience. So now in this upasana, in this meditation, the Shruti says, may we meditate on that invariable Brahma, the Chaitanyam that is lighting up the mind. Yeah. So, and that is abhikshnam repeatedly. Abhikshnam means non-stop. Continuously sankalpaha. Sankalpaha is the nature of the mind, full of kalpana. It is imagining, projecting, recalling functions from the past. But now the seeker turns away from the thoughts and the vrittis and focuses on what? The sat and the chit. No, you see this pen, does it have sat and chit? It has only sat. Yeah. But the subtle Sukshma Shariram has chit. Chit is the Chidabhasa. So this is the meditation here. See how powerful the mind is. The mind is a powerful upadhi. And by focusing on the mind, we arrive at the Chidabhasa, the sentient mind. And how it is the Chidabhasa is that reflection, Pratibimba. So when I am sitting quietly in meditation, which we will do after the session, we see how the mind begins to quieten and slow down. If there were 100 vrittis in the mind, when we watch the mind, there will be 90, then 80, then 70, and keeps on reducing. So a watched mind is a quiet mind. A watched mind is a focused mind. And until the mind becomes like a one laser beam. And then what happens? The mind has quietened to such an extent that it understands the nature of Atma Brahma. That is the discovery and the recognition the Shruti wants us to get. And that can only happen when we take some time to meditate. Yeah. So here the upasana is, may one meditate on Brahma Tattvam with the help of the mind. Look at the mantra now. Yat etad gacchati iva cha manaha anena. Anena means by the mind. Cha etad upasmarati. The one who meditates, contemplates, abhikshnam, constantly, repeatedly, such a mind is going to discover what? The sakshi bhava, the witnessing aspect in oneself. And then to understand that indeed that sakshi is who I really am. and all the mind and the sense organs, they are all instruments for me to recognize the Brahma Tattva. So that mantra, Pratibodha Vidita Matam, is again coming in this mantra. Yeah. So through the thought, through the thought, we are arriving at the Chaitanyam. Because thought is what? Namarupa plus Chaitanyam. Any thought. And so shifting the mind away from the Namarupa and focusing it on Sat and Chit of that thought, we arrive at the Atma Tattvam Brahma. So this is the teaching which is Adhyatma. Adhyatma means it is centered on me, centered on Pratyagatma, and it is will-based. Whereas the earlier upasanas were Atha Daivatam. They are centered on the divine phenomena of nature, blinking of the eyes and lightning. Yeah. So such a mind which has quietened down and the Atma Tattvam reveals itself. So let's chant this mantra again. अथ अध्यात्मं यदेतत् गच्छति वच मनोनेन च एतत् उपस्मरति अभीक्ष्णं संकल्पः. So you see here, there is no real action. It is about being. Today we are going to do the being meditation. It is, can I appreciate, can I discover, can I recognize that Chaitanyam, luminous, effulgent Chaitanyam, because of which there are the countless vrittis dancing about in my mind. So in the lighted room called the mind, there are all these vrittis. But then, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. So the mind now understands that the vrittis are just a dance of thoughts in the mind. But what is lighting up the mind? And then by the mind, I understand that is the light of pure awareness. That is the Sakshi Atma Jyoti light. So this is a very beautiful, very subtle meditation, not easy, of course, but when we start practicing it, then it becomes easier with time. Now let's go to the next mantra, and that is the last upasana of this Kena Upanishad. Tadha Tatvana Nama Tadha Tatvanam Nama Tatvanam iti upasitavyam Tatvanam iti upasitavyam Saya etadevam Veda Saya etadevam Veda Abhihainam Sarvani Bhutani Samvanchanti, Sarvanchanti. Yeah. Tadha Tatvana Nama Tatvanam iti upasitavyam Saya etadevam Veda Abhihainam Sarvani Bhutani Sarvanchanti, Samvanchanti, Samvanchanti. Okay. Now, yesterday, I told you that Vanam will come in the Kena Upanishad, and here it is. Vananam Pate Namaha, we saw yesterday in Sri Rudram, and here we are seeing the Vanam Shabda. Tatha Tat Vanam. So, Tatha Tat Vanam Nama. Tat Vanam iti upasitavyam. Saha yaha etadevam Veda. Veda is the verb, knows. Abhi ha enam sarvani bhutani samvanchanti. So now here also there is the upasarga abhi, and let us connect it with samvanchanti. Abhi samvanchanti. And now the Shruti or this Upanishad is going to coin a name for Brahma, and that is Vanam. Now, we Sanskrit students, we all know Vanam Shabda, Vanam Vane Vanani, Vanam Vane Vanani, which means forest. But here it does not mean forest. Here, Shankaracharya explains in the Bhashyam that Vanam means Varenyam. Pujaniyam, Bhajaniyam, Vandaniyam, and which all mean what? Adorable, worshipful. No, you all know the Gayatri mantra where this word Varenyam comes. No, that's Vitur Varenyam. So that Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Bharga is the one who burns the confusion. And that Bhargaha Devata shining in the solar disk is Varenyam. Varenyam means Pujita, is very auspicious, is worshipful. And that is the status that Shruti gives to Brahma. So that means that Brahma, indeed, that Vanam Nama. So Nama is name. So the name Vanam, the adorable being, worshipful, Pujita is given to Tat. Tat Hatat Vanam Nama. Then Tat Vanam iti upasitavyam. Tavya pratyaya. So may one meditate on Supreme Brahma as that Vanam. Yeah, Vanam, the adorable one in all beings. Yeah, that has to be meditated upon. Then what will happen? Saha yaha etadevam veda. So the one who meditates, contemplates, and knows the Brahma as what? As the most dearest, adorable, worshipful presence in all. Yeah. Such a one word, abhisamvanchanti sarvani bhutani. Sarvani bhutani means all the beings. They will do what? Abhisamvanchanti. They will be attracted to this yogi, to this jnani, like a powerful magnet. So what this means is, the one who contemplates on what is the dearest for all of us? Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. The dearest and most beloved is Atma Brahma. And so the one who contemplates or who knows, Saha yaha etadevam Veda. Veda is the one who knows the Atma to be Vanam, adorable. Then what happens? Sarvani Bhutani Enam. That jnani or that yogi, all the beings, Sarvani Bhutani, Samvanchanti. Samvanchanti means they will desire. Vancha will be there. They will desire to do what? To be with that person. And because there is such a powerful, loving presence surrounding the yogi. No, we have seen many times why people go and seek the company of Mahatmas in ashrams, because in their presence, their minds are quiet and they feel that non-judgmental, loving presence of the Mahatmas, like a powerful magnet. That is the Samvanchanti. Who Samvanchanti? Sarvani Bhutan, Enam. And Enam refers to the person who upasi tavyam, who knows the Vanam. Who is the Vanam here? Oneself. Atma is the dearest, most beloved self. Now, not everybody appears very dear to us. Yeah. So we have a lot of conflicts with various people. So there may be, there are always differences in the packaging. Remember the containers, that is the bodies, come in various sizes, shapes, and guna compositions. Some are rajasic, some are tamasic, some are sattvic. How can they all be adorable? How can one see the Vanam in all of them? So that is because the content is Vanam, not the container. So that is mentioned here. The one who has that Samadarshanam, who has the sameness of vision. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Panditaha Samadarshanaha. So such jnanis will have that Vanadarshanam in all the beings. Be it an Asura also, there will be compassion in their hearts towards them. And the criminals, all these packaging are ignored, put aside, and their minds will see only the pure Vanam, that is the Atma Tattvam shining effulgent in all these bodies. So here is meditation suggested by the Shruti. that may one meditate on Brahma as Vanam, as the adorable being. How to do that upasana? This is a Saguna upasana. So for this, we can choose any Ishtadevata, any mantra, anything that is very dear to us. Sri Rama, then we chant the Ashtotram of Sri Rama and then do the Dhyana shlokas and visualize the weapons and the glory and attributes of Sri Rama. So then we are bringing that Vanam like Atma closer to our minds. Or if there is a Devi Bhakta, then we visualize Devi in the space of the heart, yeah, chanting the Dhyana shlokas. So this mantra is saying, may one do upasana on that which we hold very, very dear. So many Shishyas will do meditations on their Guru, yeah. And the Guru is an embodiment of Atma Tattvam, very pure, very adorable, and it is like a Vanam. So here it is like this, such a person has become an altar. He is Ishvara himself. And so he will be sought after. Abhi Samvan Shanti means all will be attracted to the presence of such a being who meditates on the Atma Tattvam as Vanam, as the most adorable being. Yeah. In fact, even animals get drawn to such jnanis because of the power of the vibration. That is the inner transformation, the cognitive shift of this jnani. Let us chant this again. Tadha tadvanam nama, tadha tadvanam nama, tadvanam iti upasitavyam, tadvanam iti upasitavyam, saya etadevam veda, saya etadevam veda, abhihainam, abhihainam, sarvani bhutani samvanchanti, Sarvani Bhutani Samvanchanti. So, this is the Upanishads are implying, that what I think myself to be, how have I concluded myself? Am I really that? Or am I something more than that? Yeah. So that identification with the bodies will lead me to conclude that I am so and so with all the labels and the definitions that we have. I'm young, old, mortal, aging, Hindu. Yeah, I'm talented, I'm shy, I'm Indian. So now, free from all the labels and definitions, all the Nama Rupas, through the meditation, Shruti says, may one meditate on the Vanam like adorable being which is free from all the Namarupas, free from all the labels, and which is the pure Sat, and that Sat is the pure Chit. Yeah? That is this Adhyatma teachings. Now we can appreciate how it is Adhyatma because it is will-based. I'm using my mind. Yeah, earlier on it was the thought-based meditation in the earlier mantra. In this, it is I'm directing the mind towards the adorable being in all. Okay, and that is called being a Atma Samstham. Simply be. Okay. So now there are three more mantras here, and they are the concluding mantras, which I will do in the next session, and we'll complete the Kena Upanishad. Now, based on what we have seen today, these two very powerful mantras, how to quieten the mind and use the mind itself as a subtle tool to arrive at the Sakshi Tattvam. And we are going to do a meditation based on this, about 10 to 15 minutes. And we can conclude this now. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.